3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
All right. The first ever episode of the Baseball Bro Show featuring Cameron and Chase Bennett.
Yeah, it's
How
good
we
to
feeling?
be here, man. I was excited for this since the beginning of the year. Baseball is obviously a fun sport to look forward to in February and March when spring training's happening, as we're seeing right now. But yeah, this is kind of just something we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. Wanted to start this sometime soon, and here we are finally doing it. It's good to be here. It's good to do it.
Yeah, and this is the first episode, so we're going to figure it out, right? But I think the goal, the mission of this is going to be just bringing our takes on what's happening in baseball, kind of shedding some light on the top stories, breaking down some of the numbers, and just sharing our experience with being not only fans, but having myself played. So knowing the game, Chase played, and when did you play?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm a golfer. I got the cowboy hat on,
Yeah, maybe
I know how to swing it a little bit, but I got more knowledge than experience.
Yeah, if anything, Chase knows more about what's going on in the MLB than I do. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. Just having two different takes on things, I feel like it's going to be fun. Right? So let's just jump into it. Let's stop boring these people.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. We got some topics down. Do you want me to take it away, or do you want to go?
Yeah, go for it. You start it off.
Cool. So let's talk about spring training, because we're early in the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not even into the season. We're talking about spring training. And Chase and I, we play fantasy baseball. And I think the first thing we should talk about is how much do spring training stats affect fantasy picks? Like, how much weight do you need to put into players that might not get a chance to start coming into spring training, but then they ball out? Like, are you taking a chance on them?
Right. Yeah. And I think it kind of goes both ways for this take for me. The more established players like Mookie Betts, who's having a good spring, Shohei, Juan Soto, those guys aren't really going to change value. They are always going to be top picks in the draft. However, guys like Jackson Holiday, if you didn't see, this is filming on Monday. So yesterday hit a grand slam and kind of took the world by storm and maybe put his chances to get an opening day roster spot a little bit more optimistic. Yeah. And then you got guys like Wyatt Langford, who's tearing up spring. Paul Skeens. These guys are top 3 picks in the 2023 draft.
I think for me, when it comes to like high prospects, like first rounders, guys that the organization's investing a lot of money and time into, they just need to see that flash of like readiness in spring training, and then they'll get their shot, right? But it's those guys that like are fringe players. They maybe have a little more minor league experience than the next guy. They're a little older. They're not really on anyone's radar, and then they pop off for 4 home runs, 5 home runs. Do those guys get some consideration? I'm sure they do, but how much should we consider if we're a fantasy league manager?
Just like any rookie that's coming into the year that has a possible chance to make the majors, you got to consider it as a risky draft pick if you're looking to draft, 5th or better in the rounds. However, these guys, you got to remember, played COVID college baseball, so they're a little bit more seasoned than your normal college baseball players. Both Skeens and Langford and Dylan Cruz all played 4 years in college. So
yeah,
these
at
guys
a high level too.
At a high level. I mean, D1, top 10 in the nation. These guys played it at a very high level. LSU, pretty sure, won 2023 College World Series.
Yeah, I think they did too, and they were teammates. Cruz and Skeens, right?
That's correct.
So, I mean, it's not unlikely to see a college level ready like prospect come like literally the day or the year that they've been drafted. I mean, we saw it with pitchers more so than hitters, and then Heston also on the Brewers, he got called up, but then you kind of see him fall off, that one guy that I'm just blanking on his name, the pitcher that got called up the same year for the Cardinals. What's his name? He's the reliever. He's on the Tigers now. This is why we prepare, guys. This is episode number 1. I can't freaking remember his name to save my life.
It's okay, but sure it'll come later in the.
But then like Heston had a really good opening like streak there, and then now he's, I don't know, not doing so hot, right?
Yeah, Keston Hira.
Why do I keep saying Heston? It's Keston. I'm so dumb.
There is a Heston that's young too.
Is that true? Yeah. I mean, like you look at Keston's 2022 regular season, he hit 226, popping up the stats right now.
Yeah.
But then when he like, when he broke out, it was or when he cracked a regular season 25-man roster, he hit 303. I have the numbers up right now as we speak. 84 games. That's legit, right? And that was like only a couple years after, I think. Let's see. He got drafted in 2017. He made his MLB debut in 2019, hitting 303 against big league pitching. So there's something to be said about like maybe they could be ready, but then is it smart, right? Because the next few years he hit 212, 168, 226. Like, and then I think he skipped out all last year, maybe from injury or something. I wasn't really keeping touch. But what do you do as an organization with your young guys? Do you get them up right away, or do you let them get those years in minors where it's less pressure, they can develop a little bit more, and they could come a little more MLB ready?
Well, I think it depends on the organization. Let's say you have a team that is kind of not expecting to compete that year. I don't think there's a rush to get them up into the bigs, or if that position's already filled and there's somebody already solid in that position, I don't think they're rushing for, say, to get them up into the bigs. However, you got a team like the Orioles. That team is going to be legit this year. You got a lot of guys who are having good springs over there, and I expect them to come up sooner than later. Got guys like Colton Cowser, who actually came up last year, did pretty well. He's having a great spring. Obviously, you got Jackson Holliday, we touched base earlier about.
Yeah.
And you got a guy at third base, Kobe Mayo. These guys are legit baseball players. They're young. They're studs. But I think you'll see all three of them maybe as early as May. So I could see that happening.
What do you think about Jackson Holliday at 20 years old, son of a major league legend, Matt Holliday, in spring training hitting a granny and just pimping the crap out of it? But like, what do you think about a guy like that? Do you think he's ready for the show? And if he is, where does he fit in the Orioles lineup?
So that's a tough one because 20 years old, that's young. You got to be pretty special to be in the bigs at 20 years old. Obviously, number 1 draft pick in 2022, and having a great spring training does have the benefits of a father as an MLB player, which does give him a hand above other, these prospects who, I'm sure they had a good bringing up, good coaching, but when you learn from the best, it's a lot easier to get up there. So I do expect him to get into the lineup, and I do expect him to bat, around the 8th or 7th hole just to kind of ease in there, just kind of how Ellie De La Cruz did last year. And if he does start hitting well, he'll probably move up in the lineup. But
just to give you a little context, Mike Trout, Rookie of the Year, 20 years old for the Angels, but he had his year 19 season where he hit like 220, and he struggled a little bit in 40 games, right? So maybe it's not far-fetched to think that he could get the call up and have a go at it, but does he need that year of maturity and growth and strength to kind of Mike Trout's a freaking animal, right? And Jackson, no offense to him, but he still kind of looks, just like he's
baby.
Still, he's still growing into his man strength a little bit. I saw a lot of barrels off his bat, but there was only one home run that I've seen, at least on Instagram, and he looked like he got all of it, and it didn't it wasn't it's just a mammo. He's not hitting the ball 490 feet.
Right.
He has power and he has that potential. It's just year 20 to year 22 as far as strength is crazy, right? You grow, you get so much stronger in those couple years.
Especially with the big league weights
Yeah.
And that attention that they're giving you.
Yeah. And I mean, there's something to be said. I mean, Mike Trout did it and got 30 home runs, 49 stolen bases, hit 326 at age 20. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's no rush when it comes to the Orioles. They have so many guys that they can develop. Why bring him up earlier than he needs to come up?
Yeah.
Just let him get a little stronger. Let him get him a little more primed. Come in just cracking.
It depends, because the Orioles are that organization, though, that does like to let their young guys play. I mean, you've seen it with Adley Rutschman. He only was in the minors for 1 year.
He was a college guy, though, so that's a difference.
That's true. That is true.
Obviously Jackson's a high school player, but let's move on now, because I feel like we touched on that, right?
Yeah.
Spring showcase games. Is this good for baseball? What do you think? Because it's kind of interesting. Obviously, it's like a marketing ploy by MLB. It's like, hey, check out the young studs. Mm-hmm. But it'd be kind of cool to say, I saw that guy before he was the MVP.
Right. I
saw him at Arizona playing. It's kind of like the young stars game in the All-Star weekend or whatever.
I think we should explain to the guys out here what we're talking about is. Maybe it's not really known to the public as much as we know about it.
I guess we could touch base on it. So essentially, it's like a game or like a couple games, right, where everyone's top prospects come from spring training and they play against each other, like on the same team, and it's essentially just to highlight who's up next. Essentially, I think it's great for the players. It gives them a little more publicity, and I think it's good for the sport. Like, I think it's going to promote baseball more. Like, you don't really get that in baseball. In basketball, in football, you got like high school prospects, 5-star going to their Alabama, and Alabama's almost bigger than an NFL team as far as fan base goes. But you don't really get that in college baseball. It's like kind of there, but like, are you really following college baseball? Not so much. And then you have like 2-3 years in the minor leagues where no one knows about you, unless you're a diehard.
Unless you're a big fan of the farm system if you're your team. But other than that, like, unless you're a local resident of the random city teams, affiliates, or whatever.
Yeah, you're like, you're in Salt Lake and you're a big fan of like, what's their team over there? The Bees?
The Bees or something like that.
Yeah. But I think it's good for those prospects to get a little bit of momentum as they're coming in, right? Make some of that cheddar. Well, I think on the NILs, well, it's not really NILs, but like the same deal.
I think for prospects, it's a good opportunity for them to prove to their team, their organization, that they can perform under big games.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, that's good. That's a good point.
Because these are big games for them, although they don't really mean much for baseball as a whole, or let's say the MLB. It does mean a lot for these guys to go to their organization and say, look, I batted 350 in this 3-game span and a pressure baseball and televised baseball, right? And I think also it kind of shows them that they're able to get to the big leagues and they're able to hang with the better players rather than just those minor leaguers looking to get back up to the top who really haven't seen much of the MLB,
Yeah, but okay, how about this, right? Do you think the fans are going to buy in? Do you think the fans are going to show up, tune in, watch on TV? Do you think this is going to be a hit commercially?
I think the fans who are looking forward to opening day are probably going to watch. But
are you watching?
I probably will see a little bit, but I wouldn't. I'm not going to take time out of my day to sit on my couch and watch it. No. I'll watch the highlights. If it's on at work, I'll watch it like just briefly, but definitely not going to treat it as like an opening day or like the Futures game, right? Futures game, that's talent from all over the place, and that's top. This is more of
it's the
prospects.
Same thing. It's the same thing. They're both prospects. Like it's all the Futures game is MLB studs and prospects coming together and playing in the All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
Right? So this is like the same thing, right? I mean,
In a sense, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of teams that don't have top level prospects, so those teams aren't as intriguing to watch. But you got like the Orioles, you got like the Rangers. Those guys have top prospects, and those will probably be more entertaining games to watch than the guys like the A's. Or
wait, are you what is it like? Every organization puts together their top prospects.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were all coming together on the same team. I thought it was the same thing as the Futures.
It's like the Dodgers, for example, since we're Dodger fans. Might be a little biased through all these podcasts.
Oh, so the freaking Dodgers. So the Dodgers are putting together like their best prospects. 9 prospects, and like for like a starting. Oh, dude, I had it all wrong, man. So this is like,
that's what I was saying
this
about.
This isn't an all-star game necessarily. This is just.
So this is like guys
we're watching like minor leaguers.
This is guys like Dalton Rushing for the Dodgers, who's our number 1 prospect. It's his time to showcase his talent for his organization. Can he be the leader of that team? Right? Can he step up in big situations? Can he be the Dodgers' next catcher? I mean, you got Will Smith, but these are things that I think are the most important things to look at during this little 3-day segment. Can those top prospects step up and be leaders for their team?
Man, I got this whole thing wrong the entire time, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's kind of like that's like a disservice from MLB to not explain what's actually happening.
I guess that just shows you how relevant this is.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not as relevant as we are making it.
I mean, no, they're promoting it. They just didn't really. I mean, unless I'm just dumb, which could be the case.
Well, do you know the Summer League in the NBA? Just going off topic real quick.
Yeah.
I think it's something similar to that.
Well, yeah, but
only rookies, only prospect guys play, and they make competition out of it.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay.
So, in a sense, it's cool, but
I think that's dope. Like, if you're a fan of your organization, you want to see who the next guys are.
Yeah, because maybe you don't know about them. Like, there's probably some guys in the Dodgers farm system that I don't know about that could be pretty good in this showcase. And
when do Dodger fans, when do Yankee fans, when do Mariners fans, when do these fans ever get to see their best guys in the minors playing on the field, televised, or in person at spring training? Like, never.
It's true.
You're not going to watch that unless you live in the city that they're playing at, and even then, you're watching maybe 1 or 2 guys to get excited about.
And some people who go to those games just want to watch baseball, and that's the only baseball they have to watch. So they're not even interested in the players.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, I hope he does well," but they're not like Yankee fans or Red Sox fans.
When you are Yankee fans, when you are Dodger fans, when you are those big market team fans, you're more interested in those big players, those big ticket players. Not interested in those guys who, this guy's coming up this year,
Yeah.
So,
man, I need to prepare more for these things because I totally got that wrong, dude. And this is we're not going to edit any of this.
Hey, these are learning
first
curves.
impression for all the listeners out there. Hey, Cameron has no idea what he's talking about.
But this is a podcast, and you guys are probably going to criticize some of or fact check some of our things we're saying. And we're sorry if we don't get everything right. You're human beings. We're not ESPN analysts.
Yeah.
We're just here talking about baseball, the sport we love, and we're just going to give our own opinions, and you guys can just take it as you want. But
all right, let's get in some juicy drama because I'm all about that juicy drama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Bauer, Mr. Momentum.
We did make a video about this in the past about all his nicknames.
Yeah. What are we doing if we are an MLB team after seeing him go 3 scoreless innings, 4 Ks against the Dodger affiliate?
Yeah. So Trevor Bauer made a statement yesterday after a pretty strong performance, touching 99 3 times, is what I read on the internet. And he, quote unquote, said, "I was still elite." Not quote unquote, but he also said, "I am one of the best pitchers in the world still." How do you feel? Let me ask you first. How do you feel about these comments? Do you feel like they're too much? Do you think he has a point?
He obviously made the comments because he wanted people to talk about it, just like we're talking about it right now.
That's true.
So there's no, I mean, obviously, there's that, right? But at the same time, like when you're a Cy Young winner, you've taken some time off baseball, but you pitched at a competitive level last year in Japan. Mm-hmm. And Japanese baseball is not a walk in the park. Like, there are a lot of people that think they could go from like MLB talent to Japanese leagues and perform, and they don't. They get cut, or they don't. They're like struggling. Japan is coming up, dude. Like, at a certain point, it might get to like a comparable level as far as talent goes. Like, there's no difference between MLB and Japan, I think, in like 5 to 10 years. So we can't dismiss that he did well in Japan. I think what's happening is he's turning into a YouTuber. Obviously, a lot of controversy around his brand and his name, not just with the scandal, but like when he was in the MLB, he was doing stuff that was pissing off people. And I think it was bringing excitement to baseball, but not the kind of excitement that MLB wanted to bring to baseball. It was more of like anarchist, let me do what I want kind of things, you know? And
now, was there anything against what he was doing as far as filming behind the scenes?
No, I think all that was great.
Okay.
I think they just wished it was somebody else doing that, because he would do that, all that stuff where you like wear that shirt because they're telling him he can't promote his brand on field. So he's like, he'd wear that shirt saying like, not my brand, or I don't know what he was. You remember that?
I do. Yeah.
He was like doing that. And then he was like making these comments about like how MLB's like, I don't want to misquote him, but I just know that there was always like a tug of war when it came to what he was trying to do for the game and what MLB wanted to do for the game. And the minute that this like legitimate like allegation came out, where, and when I say legitimate, like there was a court case and there was like a testimony that wasn't out of the realm of possibility, like they freaking said, oh,
it was a good time for MLB to make another thing happen.
Hey, kill two birds with one stone.
Right.
You know, like, we don't like this guy.
We don't like this guy, what he's doing, so we can use this against him times 2.
And now, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm still, like, a little bit like, you know, like, maybe not the best example for children, right? But the dude went to court and got his name completely cleared, like, legally. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, right, it doesn't make people forget.
Yeah, everyone has their own opinions about it.
Everyone has their own opinions, right? But, like, you could do no more than what he did to get out of that situation. And there are guys in the MLB that have done much worse and haven't gotten cleared that are still playing right now to this day. There's like 2 or 3.
True, like Marcell and
Ozuna, Chapman.
Wander Franco.
Well, no, Franco's done.
He's not cleared, but he's
R.I.P.,
one of those.
Dude. That guy's gone, dude.
Yeah, that guy.
You're never going to hear of him again.
That guy doesn't have. Trevor Bauer had a chance. This guy does not have a chance.
That guy's sayonara.
And
right?
that's crazy because he could have been top 5. I mean, he probably was top 5 shortstops in the league, and that's just a crazy name, just leaving baseball like that.
I don't know what the talks are privately, but publicly, it seems like he's willing to sign for just nothing, for league minimum, make all my cash bonuses, right? So if I hit, like, if I get, 20 plus wins, I get this much money and blah, blah, blah. I don't see why an organization, at least one organization, doesn't pull the trigger.
It has to.
Come on. Even Oakland, like the A's, could use a guy like that.
I mean,
right?
it's tough. It's a business decision at the end of the day. I mean, obviously, it's tough for an organization. I mean, the Dodgers obviously were one of them, but it's tough for an organization to represent somebody who went through that trial and all that drama with the. We don't need to go into that, but
yeah, you don't want to like put your banner of approval behind a controversial character, but he's still a human being and a really good pitcher and has a very like probably one of the most popular YouTube channels in the baseball realm. Like, I mean, it's pretty high up there. Like, they're pretty like I see their stuff often. You know, like I feel like there should be an organization that even I think the A's, because the A's are like, you know, they're just bringing in everyone, all the bad boys, dude. They're just own it, right?
Do you think that there would be a clubhouse?
Consequence?
Yeah, not consequence, but just you think players wouldn't really accept them?
Do you think that Bauer, after going through all this and like let's just put it in perspective, right? Or let's just like be completely frank. He got humbled, bro. Humbled by this experience. Like, you know, like the cockiness that he was experiencing. He's like, I'm only going to sign 1-year contracts and all this stuff, like with the Dodgers and everything, and like the highest paid position player or pitcher in the league when he signed with the Dodgers. Like, he got humbled fast. He went from on top of the world to no one wants him, like even for league minimum, right? You don't think like if he does get an opportunity, he's gonna go in there and be the same old guy? Like, he's caused friction with the players.
I still think he'll be. I mean, as you can tell, he's a very confident player in himself.
He's not going to cause friction though with the players, at least.
No,
with his teammates.
No,
I think he'll be. I don't think he'll be a liability.
I don't think
in
he
the clubhouse.
was causing friction before all this stuff.
Well,
happened.
there was all this drama, and I don't know what's true and what's not. But like all the Dodger players unfollowed him on Instagram after the allegations and all that stuff.
Well, that is true, but that was after the allegation. I'm talking about before. I think he met or kind of came well with the players and the coaching staff and all of that. I don't think he thought he was above anyone or on the team, right? I don't think he was like, oh, I'm the best pitcher on this team, or, you know, I won Cy Young in 2020, so that makes me the ace on this staff. I don't think he came into the Dodgers organization with that mindset. But he definitely does think he's the best pitcher in the MLB.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is what Betts said, a teammate of Trevor Bauer's. My experience with Bauer is not anything remotely close to what everyone else's experience is. I love him. I think he's an awesome guy. The personal things, I have no control. I have no say. Obviously, nothing ever came from it. He's an awesome pitcher. He's a great guy, someone who wants to take the mound every 5th day. But at the end of the day, I don't make the decisions. That's a decision that's not as simple as baseball. So it doesn't seem like he was rubbing anyone on the Dodgers organization the wrong way, at least from the freaking best player on the Dodgers perspective. I think there's more than enough reasons to give him another opportunity. However, will it happen? This is where we'll leave it. Will it happen?
Well, let me give you one conspiracy theory to think about as well. Do you think since that Mookie Betts comment made it seem like the unfollowing, because that was the first one who unfollowed, I think. Mookie.
Yeah, that was big.
Do you think that unfollowing from Mookie was a personal choice, or was it a Dodger organization telling him to unfollow Trevor Bauer?
I think it was a business decision, 100%.
So do you think that his look as a Dodger player is better without following Trevor Bauer?
I would say this, right? If somebody came to me and said, hey, your teammate did the things that Trevor Bauer did to that woman, it doesn't matter how nice that guy's been to me. I'm unfollowing. Sorry, you're done, right? But he said these things after Trevor cleared everything, after he cleared all of it with like hard evidence, like video evidence of like allegations that were just kind of just false, if we're being completely honest, right? And who know, like that's what it says legally. I'm not saying that it actually is, because anything could be real. Anything could be altered. Anything could be whatever, manufactured. But I think from the sense of like playing it safe, if you like someone and you have enough evidence to believe that they were innocent, it's not, you can't blame Mookie Betts for going back on what he did, you know, on, oh, I'm going to follow him, and now we're homies again, and I'm going to say all these cool things, right? Because, like, yeah, you don't want to go to bat for somebody if there's a possibility that they could be living this double life because at the end of the day, they just know each other on the field. They're probably not homies off the field. They're probably not besties.
No.
Like, there's so many people
outside of baseball. They're probably not making plans.
We both made like teams, like golf, baseball. Like, there are some players that I'm like cool with on the field. I don't know what they do like for the 16, 18 other hours that I don't see them. Same with you on the golf the golf course, you know?
It's true.
I mean, that's just my opinion. But yeah, you give a little forgiveness for Mookie there, I think.
Yeah, I think, once he realized what kind of went down and how it all played out, I mean, at the end of the day, Mookie Betts never really wants to make any enemies on the field. You know, he's one of the nicest guys out there. So
let's segue into Mookie. Mookie's a shortstop now. Gavin, second base.
Yeah.
A little bit of yip. This
is a very controversial decision from Dave Roberts here.
How about this quote from Dave, right? And we're Dodger fans, disclaimer, you know?
Yeah.
How about Mookie Betts is our permanent shortstop for now?
Yeah. So
what about that, dude?
Yeah. How can somebody be permanent just for now?
For now.
Yeah. So obviously Doc is not too sure about this decision he's made. I think what he meant by that, though, is that Mookie Betts will start as our opening day shortstop, and we'll see where it goes from there. A couple days after he made this change, Mookie missed a backhander at shortstop. Just a different play than what he's used to. I mean, the guy's a super talent. I mean, I do believe he can play anywhere on the field, but this is the big leagues. You know, this is as good as it gets.
Shortstop's debatably the most important position on the field in the infield.
It gets probably the most ground balls.
Yeah,
statistically,
it's the hardest throw.
It is.
Third is shorter, I think, because you're up. If you're playing up and if you're playing up at third base, and you're playing deep on a backhand with a shortstop, like, you gotta whip that thing.
Yeah, and I don't think Mookie Betts is gonna have a hard time throwing across the diamond. I think it's more of just fielding a position. Like, it's like going to center field to right field. You got a little bit more room to cover in center. Short, I think you got a little bit more room to cover at short because third base is playing so far up.
Yeah, but second to third is a big jump.
Yeah.
Because that's like third to short would be more like going from right to center.
Right.
But like second to third, that's like
going from right to left pretty much, because you have or left to right. You have a more bigger throw at right field than left field.
Yeah, but it's even more than that. It's like I don't know. It's not really a comparable thing for outfield.
No.
But Mookie's a stud. I think he'll handle it well. I kind of wish that we had a bona fide shortstop, because I feel like as Dodger fans, we've been spoiled with amazing shortstops over the course of the last couple of years. And now that we don't really have one, especially last year, I felt it a little bit.
Yeah, there was a big impact with Miguel Rojas.
Yeah,
being our shortstop.
He held it down, but
defensively, he did a good job. Yeah,
but such a hole in the lineup. What about? Let's talk about this. Is not even on our topics list, but what about Mookie Betts saying every time someone's playing the Dodgers, it's a World Series game? What do you think about that?
As far as like the popularity side of it, like it's such a good game that it feels like a World Series atmosphere.
Yeah, I could bring up the exact quote too.
Okay, as you're doing that, I want to talk about Gavin Lux and his yips.
Yeah, talk about that.
And what I've been noticing, I haven't seen many spring training games this year. I haven't been too much in the loop, just more highlights. I've noticed that he's throwing almost submarine, almost from his right hip. And I don't think he's doing it just because he's taking it easy. I think he literally cannot throw overhand. I think he has to throw sidearm / 3/4 down. And I think he just has the case of, and it's so crazy how this develops. I mean, this develops sometimes with catchers. You see Moneyball and the catcher can't even throw back to the pitcher.
Altuve had it for a bit.
Yeah.
You remember when Altuve couldn't throw to first? He was just skipping everyone.
Yeah. So, and Justin Turner has it. He always skips it over to first too.
What, like now?
No, in general, like he's always been like that. He always throws one hoppers because it's just easier for him to control the throw. And I think these are just things that just happen throughout your course of career. Nothing that just has been a thing for him. But
baseball's so mental, dude. It's crazy.
If you don't feel a throw going over there, it's going to stay in your head for a long time until you confidently feel like you can throw the ball to the chest.
You know what it takes? It just takes a couple good throws to sort of like gain that confidence back. I think what he needs to do, I think he needs to just get out there in the field and just make ridiculous plays. Like have like the guy hit him a ground ball like way backhand, and then he does like a Jeter throw to first. You know, just like loosen up a little bit.
Yeah.
That when I had the yips, it was because every time I'd get the ground ball, I was thinking,
you're like, crap, I gotta throw it.
I gotta throw it. Okay, don't mess the throw up. Don't mess it up, right? But like when you're doing like these like ESPN top 10 plays, you're not thinking about the throw. You're thinking about like, oh, okay, catch the ball. All right, get rid of it real quick. You know, and then you just let your literal MLB like experience take over. Like you just let that freaking 10,000 hours of throwing the ball to first base, like
from when you were a
brainless,
kid,
take over. You know, and then it's good. So, I mean, I think he's gone through a lot, like a lot, and he's kind of falling out of like that hype top, 5 prospect train. I think he'll get it together. He does no pressure in that lineup anymore.
I mean, he's a great hitter, and that's what he's in the lineup for, and that's why he's not off the team.
Yeah.
That's why we moved him to second base, because his bat is waking up this spring. He's picked it up before he got injured last year in spring.
Yeah.
And I think this year he's going to have a good year at the plate. And if he can keep it together a little bit second, that's going to be even better.
Okay, here we go. Ready? So Mookie Betts on what it looks like Dodgers fan day, which was like a while ago, February 3rd. He said, every game is going to be the other team's World Series. We're a little late in covering this, but obviously this is the first episode. So what do you got on that?
I think what he's trying to say is that this is one of the most hyped teams to look forward to this year as far as the Dodgers go, with all those acquisitions we made. And this will actually jump into our next topic about contracts and what contracts have been signed and what contracts were quote-unquote good or quote-unquote bad. But I think what Mickey's saying here is that we got Ohtani on the Dodgers. We got Freddie Freeman. We got Mookie Betts. We picked up Teoscar Hernandez. We picked up Yamamoto. We have a crazy stacked team this year. And, a lot of controversy about Dodgers buying their team, all this stuff. And yeah, sure, they spend quite a bit of money. And I do agree with that to an extent. But it's going to feel like, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more nationally televised Dodger games this year because of that.
Yeah, but look, no one liked this statement.
Of course, no one liked it because everyone's probably commenting like, oh, you need to buy your team to be a World Series game every time or blah, blah,
No, the more the comments are like, oh, the Dodgers can't play well enough in the playoffs to make the World Series. And like last year we got our butt handed to us by a team that was significantly less funded. Right. I wouldn't say talented because I think they were good, the Diamondbacks, but
I actually want to go, not today, but maybe next podcast or the one after. I want to go into topic about the playoffs and how the structure works and all that. But we'll go into that another day. But yeah, obviously the Dodgers haven't performed in the playoffs, and as a Dodger fan, it makes me want to literally hang myself sometimes.
Well, okay. Well, no, I'm saying like, do you think like saying statements like that would be good for the Dodgers psyche going in? Because like obviously like there's like this old school mentality that like, hey, like be humble, like anyone can beat you. So it goes with Trevor Bauer. It goes with, obviously this comment from Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Like, but now there's this like new school sort of like when you hit a home run, do a crazy bat flip. Talk about how you're the best player on the field every time you come out there. Like exude overly confident statements. I don't think Mookie Betts is trying to be overly confident here. I think he's just being real. Like
he's like, we're ready for this year. We're ready.
They have 3 MVPs like on their team. Like 3 legitimate MVPs that like have won MVP that can win MVP.
This year.
Freddie and Mookie were top 3 last year, and Ohtani won it. So if it weren't for Acuna literally making MLB history with the 40-70 season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it could have been 2 repeat MVPs on the same team.
Very much could have been, for sure.
And that's just scratching the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they got one of the best Japanese prospects in Yamamoto on the rotation. They have Walker Buehler coming back, who's a Cy Young threat every year. They have one of the best baseball pitchers in history that's like not even in the rotation.
He's injured right now, but yeah, he probably will find himself a spot.
I mean, do you think? I mean, I don't know.
I think so.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about contracts.
Yeah.
This one's interesting because, you got Matt Chapman just signing a contract this deep into spring training. You have 2 pretty big free agents, both left-handed pitchers, who get snatched up pretty early. As of today, Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell, who are still free agents. I mean, Blake Snell, is he the freaking Cy Young reigning champ?
He was Cy Young last year.
Yeah. So how is he not on a team? What's going on, right? And then also, let's talk about contracts that are kind of ridiculous. You look at Acuna's contract, who is arguably number 1 pick in all fantasy drafts, one of the best players in baseball next to Ohtani. And how much is he making a year? Do you have that down?
Ohtani is making $2 million a year right now.
Well, that's another thing. This deferred thing that MLB players are doing to create super teams. That's one topic. There's so many ways we could go with this, right?
Yeah.
You go with how long is too long to wait to get signed, right? Until you're screwed, right? Like, do you sign that early contract for that safety net with the unknowingness of hey, if I put up Acuna could be walking into free agency right now after putting up one of the best seasons in MLB history with 40-70. Literally no one's done that, right? Instead,
he's making $12 million a year.
he's making 17 per year through 2026,
Yeah.
He's 30 years old in 2028, so what does that make him? 26 right now?
We could talk about
dang, dude.
We could talk about
what a contract, right?
The guys that are making more than Acuna, but it'd be too long of a list to go over. Right? So that's just something to put in perspective.
Yeah. And then, the Braves are just they just love making very lucrative and early contracts to certain people, and for Freddie Freeman, not so much. Ozzy Albies, top 3 second baseman, is making 7 years, $35 million, which means an annual average salary of $5 million for the top 3 second basemen in the league. What do you got on all that? Let's start there. What do you got on this? Offering MLB potentialed players long contracts for relatively competitively less than what they should be making to hopefully see them pan out into something studly.
I think the Braves are brilliant here. They believe in their farm system. They believe in their coaching staff. They believe in their players. And they took, some would call it a risk. I call it just, an opportunity to take these guys who, of course, have turned out to be studs. You got Austin Riley as well in that conversation. You got Max Fried. You got Spencer Strider. These guys who, came up, young guys, good talent, and just have proven to the world that they can play baseball. And they signed them before that wake up to the world, before they started waking up. And now their contracts look like, such good deals for the organization, maybe not for the player, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're getting guaranteed money at such a young age. To them, it was a good deal for them at that time.
How do you turn down if you are going to play the game you love and then someone gives you $35 million to do it? How do you turn that down? Especially when you shouldn't be making $35 million when you get offered the contract. How do you say no to that? I don't blame them at all. I wish that it was different, because I really want them to make the money that they deserve, especially for the value that they're adding to their organization. But like my life would be changed if I made $7 million a year, which is what he's making in 2024. It averages to $5 million a year, but he's making $7 million this year, and that is life-changing money, dude. Like,
it really is. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to see though. Like I said, I mean, you look at guys like Trey Turner's contract. You look at guys like Corey Seager's contract.
Mike Trout.
Middle infielders.
Yeah, I guess
talking about it with Ozzie Albies.
Talk about that.
Altuve's contract, right?
Yeah.
You look at those guys, and Ozzie Albies is. I don't know if he's really has this in the back of his head like we might think he does, but I mean, if you're a top 5 second baseman, and you're making significantly less than guys like Altuve, guys like Simeon, who are just above you.
Just to put it in perspective, Altuve just finished a 7-year, $163 million contract, which let's just pop this up
million.
Because do a little research. How old is Altuve? I'll have it up.
It's got to be like almost 30.
Yeah. While I look this up, why don't we talk about the Dodgers contracts that they just signed?
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Ohtani deferred $68 million in his 10 years of his $70 million for the next 10 years. So he will be making $2 million for the first 10 years of his playing career with the Dodgers. After that, the Dodgers will be paying him $68 million for the next 10 years without even being on the team. We also have Mookie Betts with a small deal. I think it's somewhere around $10 million deferred in his contract. Freddie Freeman's about $5 million deferred. So these are huge lump sums amount of money in about 8 years the Dodgers are going to have to chew off. And who knows what the franchise is going to be like at that point. Obviously, they're looking to win now. They're sick of losing in the playoffs, just like their fan base. And I think that they were like, we got Ohtani, let's go all in. Let's get Teoscar, let's get Yamamoto, let's get Kike back for a little lefty.
They got that salary cap, that's why, because it's all deferred.
Exactly.
And what does this have to say about super teams? I mean...
Yeah, so obviously it puts a bad taste in baseball fans' mouth. I don't blame them. They think it's a little unfair to have so much salary built up in a team that isn't breaking the tax bracket.
I mean, you gotta blame the Angels here, because this is obviously Ohtani saying, I want to play for a winning team, and he wasted a lot of time, and some would say maybe his best years playing for an organization that had zero ambition on building around him, So he didn't want to create that roadblock for the next team he played for. And that's, I think, a big reason why he did it. Also, because you just know he's going to move back to Japan and take that $68 million a year that he gets deferred and just
defer tax.
Yeah, defer tax, baby.
Yeah.
And just live in retirement like a king.
Yeah.
Okay, I got Altuve's contract up here. 7 years, 163 mil. It started at base of $6 million for the first 2 years, 28 and 29 years of age, and then 26 mil a year riding out. And now he's 34. He signed a 5-year extension that'll pretty much send him into retirement as an Astro, which is awesome. I love when players stick with one team. But dude, broke in the MLB late. He wasn't a young buck like Ozzy, right?
No.
And the Astros still gave him a 7-year, $163 million contract. I mean, let's look at his stats here, just so I don't get anything wrong, because I tend to do that. He made his MLB debut, I would say, gosh dang it, let me pull it up. 21, right? But it wasn't until he was, I don't know, 24 that he started putting up big time numbers, right? 24, 25, 26 is when he started becoming an all-star / in the conversation. I mean, he did hit 290 at 22, but nothing like the Altuve we know now, right? He won MVP in 2017, got a big contract. I feel like Ozzy, if he waited a little bit longer, right, could be sitting in a nice contract right now.
100%.
Because
could have signed one probably this year.
Yeah.
after his rookie contract or whatever. I don't know how long his rookie contract was, but after one of those little small contracts expired, he would have a max contract.
Yeah.
He's that good of a player.
Yeah. I would love to get to know, the decision making behind that. And I think he addressed it in a couple interviews when he made the decision to do that. I mean, there's guys like Jose Ramirez who also are like top 3 MVP list type players that have signed pretty ridiculously low contracts early, just for that security, right? And I love, because I don't think it's a lack of belief in themselves, right? I think it has to do with,
Guaranteed money.
Yeah. That they've never seen before. And you can't blame them for doing it.
That's
right?
true. I mean, you can't expect these guys to just have $7 million lying around before they come to the bigs.
That's another thing, right? Like, what if they have like a good first season, a good second season, career-ending injury, never come back?
Yeah.
They had 2 really good seasons for not a lot of money, and then no guarantee, no security.
It's true.
And they're
it's
done.
Baseball. You never know what can happen.
Anything can happen. Anything. Let's pop on in to the Matt Chapman stat error this spring. I see that as a topic. I don't really know much about this.
So Matt Chapman signed a 3-year, $54 million contract with the Giants. I think middle of spring or just right when spring started. And in his first spring training game, he did have. I did see on social media that they put as his stats batting like .229 with 2 home runs last year.
Which is not true.
Which is a total disrespect to Matt Chapman. And if I'm Matt Chapman and I see that, that's already a bad first impression on his new ball club, right? And it's kind of just, as a Dodger fan, I think it's even more funny because it's the Giants.
Do you think that was like his spring training stats? It could be, right, for last year.
I don't know. I think what they did is they took his batting average from a couple years ago and then put his spring training home run stats or something. I don't even know how they came up with it because I looked at the stats and I'm like, he never had this season.
You know what's funny is like he had a worse spring training last year, so it's not even. He bat 196 last year, with no home runs in spring training. So definitely wasn't spring training stats.
No,
but that was.
It's literally
they just did him so dirty.
It's maybe they missed a number on the home run category because 2 home runs is literally laughable.
Yeah, especially for giving him that contract. That's not
so
something.
It's comical. I mean, obviously it wasn't intentional. They obviously messed up, but like I said, as a Giants fan or Dodger fan, it's hilarious to me. So
it's hilarious. Do you think he'll do good in San Francisco? I mean,
I think he won't have the year he had last year, but I think he'll help the team. I mean,
you think he's going to do worse than last year? Let me just give you some context to have it up. He had 240 with 17 jacks, 54 RBIs. He played 140 games, so almost a whole season, 66 runs. His on base was 330, slugging 424, OPS 754. Which, man, I mean, like when
it's
he
actually
was
not even that great.
When he was good, like his OPS, and that's a good indicator, was 848, 864. Anything above 800, I feel like
is a solid year.
Yeah. So when you're in the 7s, like as a guy who's waiting out this long to get signed, you can't be putting up 3 back-to-back 700 OPS seasons.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think what really plays into this is his defense. Obviously, I mean, like Bellinger.
He's not going to be hitting a lot of home runs in San Francisco. It's kind of hard for those righties to put him out. Yep. So it's definitely the glove. And obviously, I mean, like, they had, who did they have last year? Evan? Was it Evan Longoria? Or no, Evan Longoria was on the Diamondbacks? No?
Yeah, he was. I think it was like Casey Schmidt.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was playing third or short. I don't even know.
Casey Schmidt was playing all over, I think. He was playing first, too. He's like,
Yeah.
I mean, at least they got a guy now.
There was multiple guys at third base, I think.
It's a classic Giants move. Just find someone that, can lock it down over there and just sort of see how much he can
Once
give you.
Sandoval left, that was kind of their thing.
Move. That was their
whatever
strategy.
Can play over there. We'll just
pop him in.
Yeah,
he seems like he'd be a good job. Do a good job over there.
I don't think he's overpaid, but I also don't think he's underpaid. I think a $54 million contract for 3 years. It's right around what you paid for an average bat and good defense.
Dang, dude, we have so many more things to go over, but we're getting
We'll make
time.
the next couple things shorter. Like let's talk about Anthony Rendon. And
you just want to, maybe we could save that for next week.
Yeah, okay, we can save it for next week.
We'll save that for next week.
We'll talk about Bryce Harper.
We'll talk about Bryce Harper. We got a couple of things coming to you next week. We're going to talk about Rendon's comments. We're going to talk about Bryce Harper taking over at first, and all those good things. Once they become relevant, we'll pick it up. But let's end with our rapid fire conclusions, right?
Okay.
So for this, we're just going to go over a couple topics, baseball related, fantasy related, and we're going to say this or that, right? We're going to say yes, no, over, under. It's going to be quick, and we're going to offer like a quick 15-second just explanation.
And before we start, just to go over, these are things that we came up with based on things we couldn't really pick yes or no definitively.
Yeah.
But we want to have you guys jump into this as well. And if you have any, rapid fire things that you can come up with us for maybe next week or the week after, it'd be great to just leave it down in the comments.
Open suggestions, totally.
Yes.
Open suggestions.
And we want to be involved with the community. You guys, you can answer these questions as well in the comment section below. But let's get into it. I'll go first with Trey Turner being a first-round pick, yes or no. He's right on the border, first and second-round pick.
For fantasy. I'm saying that someone who picked him last year is not picking him first round, but I would take him late 12, maybe in a 14-man league. I'd take him first round, especially if I could get back-to-back picks, 14-15 or 13-16. I could take a Trey Turner, and then I could take someone else who's kind of a stud.
So being the 14th pick in my league, you just gave away my game plan. I would also do the same thing. I'd probably pick him. If he's there in my league, I'm going to pick him 14th pick.
All right, Trout, he's got a 72 average draft pick in our fantasy league. I'm not sure about in Yahoo. I'm not sure about any of the other leagues where he's ranking, but I know he's low. He's not first round anymore.
He's not first
He's
round.
not first overall like he's been the last couple years. So, are we over or under? Are we over or under 72?
I have to take him over. It's Mike Trout at the end of the day. I mean, I'm taking the risk of him possibly getting hurt, but if he's healthy all year, he's way over 72.
Man, he had some issues that aren't fixable, bro. His back is like chronic. Like that was reported last year. His back is just in chronic. He's just in chronic pain now.
Yeah.
So can he be the Mike Trout of old? Can he be an MVP player?
I don't think he is the Mike Trout of old, but he is Mike Trout, and he can be a top 5 outfielder.
I think, here's the thing. I think that I would probably take him under 72, right? However, it doesn't mean I think that he's under 72 performer.
Like you think he can be over a 72 performer, but you wouldn't take that risk.
Exactly. I let someone else take that risk because there's so many players out there that aren't as risky as Mike Trout that I would take before him at 72.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just a plethora of talent on the table.
Yeah.
All these young guys, all these studs.
Yeah.
So it's not that I wouldn't throw my hat at Mike Trout. Like I'd give him a shot, but I feel like I'd wait till everyone forgot about him. Then I'd snag him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bichette, Guerrero, who's going to do better?
This is a tough one. This is one that actually was probably my favorite coming up with because obviously you got Bichette who broke out last year. I mean, broke out a couple years ago, but had a really good year last year, and Guerrero did not. But Guerrero is the bigger name of these two.
And he's also debatably has the most raw power and probably hitting ability. Bichette's kind of a stud, though. It's just tough.
I have to go with Bichette having a better year. I just think he is
overall or offensively.
I mean, I think they're not really much different defensively. Guerrero's probably a little bit better of a defender, but not by much.
Okay, I'm saying like overall, taking defensive into categorization, or just we're looking offensive.
I guess if we have to put a number into it, we could just go overall WAR.
Okay.
And I think Bichette's going to have a better overall WAR this year.
Oh, I could say that for sure. Because, I mean, first baseman, they already are knocked on WAR. So,
yeah.
It'd be a I feel like they'll have very similar offensive years.
Yeah.
I think Guerrero may be a little better offensively, but WAR, I think Bichette takes it.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you think Who do you pick first in fantasy? Ellie or O'Neill? The two Cruzes. Almost identical players, both shortstops. Who do you
Same
pick
build. Yeah,
first?
it's crazy. I'm going to have to take O'Neill Cruz on this one.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Ellie, but I think O'Neill has more of an upside when it comes to baseball. Like, I don't know. I think he's just a better hitter. I think they're pretty similar defensively. I think they're pretty similar in speed, but I think O'Neill is a better hitter.
Is you pronounce it O'Neill or O'Neill?
I think it's O'Neill.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're pronouncing it right. I've
people-
been pronouncing it wrong the whole time, dude.
I try to go, like, obviously Luis Robert is Luis Robert.
Oh, that's how.
So I try to
go
go the correct way.
That's
and
good. Good
People
for
can
you.
criticize me, but I don't freaking care.
That's good. That's good, Chase. I will say, okay, who do you think is going to be the better team? The Pirates or the Reds? Because that's a big factor for me.
I actually think the Pirates will be a better team this year.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Brian Hayes is also going to stand out this year.
Offensively, you think they'll be the better team?
I think offensively, I don't know who's going to have a better record, but
that's all that matters. So for fantasy,
Yeah.
is offensively, who's a better team? I think the Pirates are a little more seasoned. I think the Reds are a little more like potential.
they do have a lot of studs like Spencer Steer, McLean, and then they have
Encarnacion Strand.
Yeah, they do have a lot of weapons that are. It just depends how
They can
how
put it
healthy
together.
and put it. Yeah, a lot of
And I think
sophomore players.
Ellie's going to get a lot of runs and stolen bases. He's the faster player. I mean, I personally would take Ellie,
Okay,
I think, but O'Neill or however you pronounce
O'Neill.
it, he is the older player. He has more experience, but he's injury prone. So that's something that we have to take in consideration.
Both
is he
of
going
them
to be?
are, I feel like though, right?
Did Ellie have any injuries last year?
I think he did in minors.
Okay, well, the thing is, Ellie is faster. Maybe not the kind of
I don't know if
pop.
he's faster. I think he's pretty. They're pretty similar in speed.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, we'll see. I think Ellie's going to pop off for 50 this year, stolen bases. So,
I think they both will.
wow.
Yeah,
This is going to be fun to see.
yeah,
Okay, does Jordan Montgomery get signed before the season starts?
it has to.
Because Snell is going to be signed.
Yeah.
He's a Cy Young winner. But does Jordan Montgomery, the guy who's been consistently average for every team he's played for.
Yeah.
But I love the dude. I draft him every year
Yeah,
in
I know.
fantasy baseball.
I remember that. I know you're always
love
a
that
big
guy.
Jordan Montgomery fan.
Yeah, because everyone's, he's the fifth starter on the Yankees. But I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, the guy's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
And then he gets traded, to the Cardinals and does even better. Do you think he gets signed?
He gets signed, and he's gonna realize. I mean, there's one thing in believing in yourself, but there's another thing of making a living. So I think a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, maybe is gonna come in the future to a contending team.
I think he'll be signed too. Does Trevor Bauer get signed before the end of the season? So Jordan Montgomery before the season starts, Trevor Bauer before the end. I really think. I really want to say yes, but like
That's kinda where I'm at.
It's not looking like it, dude. I feel like unless something dramatically changes, like
I feel like if he was gonna get signed, he would have already.
it feels like every MLB team is just in agreement. Like, hey, don't mess this up, dude.
Yeah.
Don't do it, man. Like,
Yeah.
like they're all just like, hey, you're not thinking about signing that guy, are you?
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not going
Yeah.
for that. No way.
But in the bottom of their mind, they're tapping their fingers on their chair. They're like,
Yeah, they're like, call it off. They're onto us.
I was gonna do it, but they don't want me to.
Yeah. I feel like every MLB manager or GM is like on that edge of like, who's gonna break?
Yeah.
But I don't think
Yeah.
anyone will because no one wants that bad publicity because you're gonna get some. I think the A's. I keep saying the A's because the A's already their fans hate them because they're moving to Vegas and
Yeah.
they
The
don't
A's are
like spending
so
money.
dead.
Like this could be like almost a saving grace because the A's are like, we don't care, bring them in.
Yeah.
Our team's gonna be good now. Yeah,
Like, hey, Trevor Bauer would be great in Vegas.
he'd be great.
He'd be great in Vegas. I'm not gonna lie. They're not playing in Vegas this year. I think they're playing in Sacramento.
Are they
From what
really?
I think the
It's already done.
I think so. I think I saw something about that, but
Wow.
not 100% sure. Don't quote me on it, but I think I heard
gotta
something
look
about
into
it.
that. I don't even know. Okay, Jackson Holiday making an opening day roster.
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm going to say no too. I think it's a Chris Bryant treatment.
Yeah, I think he'll be in the roster this year for sure.
Yeah.
Probably in May.
I mean, I would love to see him on the opening day roster. It doesn't make sense for the Orioles to...
No, they got so much talent already on that team.
Talent.
Like, don't rush it. You already got Jordan Westberg at second.
Give him a year.
Yeah.
Like, let him get a little bit more.
You think you don't think he makes the MLB? You shouldn't give him a chance at all this year? Or
Well,
you think a September call-up?
I'm a big like, if you're gonna have a rookie of the year season, like freaking have a rookie of the year season. You know what I'm saying? Give him a year, give him a season.
Oh, instead of just like an Ellie.
Blew it, dude. He blew his rookie of the year shot because he came in too late.
He also had no chance against Corbin Carroll, but
yeah, I know.
Corbin Carroll went nuts.
Bananas.
All right. Do the Padres get a win in Korea?
Yes or no? 2 games against a World Series team, I guess.
Biasedly and unbiasedly say no.
I say they get 1.
Okay.
Just to take the other side.
You want to do it? Do you want to do a little bet on that?
I think we should.
All right.
I think we should.
What do you want to do?
I think bragging rights for the next podcast because it's going to happen this week, right?
All right. Yeah. So let's say, no, it happens actually next week. So we'll do the podcast following.
Yeah.
But let's say the winner has to, or the loser has to start staring at the podcast for the next one, saying, "I suck." That's what you're gonna say.
That's how.
And obviously, I just did it, and that probably doesn't look good for me.
I'm gonna clip it.
But
and if I have to do it, then we're both.
So you do it right now, and we're just gonna clip it.
No, wait, I'm not doing it now, bro. You just did it.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
No, but that's the bet. Let's shake on it.
All right. Good.
Oh gosh.
Landed. Are you good? You here?
Yeah.
Sweet. Does Shohei go deep in that series? Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes.
Oh, man. You know he's going to. And it's going to be electric.
It's going to be so freaking
All
insane.
the Koreans over there go, ah!
Yeah.
Do you think, though, like, obviously Japan's going to be tuning in too?
Oh, Japan. There will be a bunch of Japan fans there.
Yeah, they're flying
for sure.
over.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. They
It's
fly
the
over to
best
LA.
thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to fly way over to
Korea's like right next door.
Yeah, it's not too far away. So
you know how like there's all like a rivalry though between like China, Korea, and Japan?
Yeah.
It's less with Japan and Korea, but like do you think like they're going to be gung-ho on Shohei over there in Korea?
No, I think
it's the Japanese fans that are coming in that are going to be
just
like,
the
whoa!
Asian culture, I think, will get together behind the Japanese players.
Yeah.
You know?
Hopefully. We'll see.
And then you got Kim. Is Kim Korean?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
Does he have 3 names?
Hong Sung Kim.
Yeah, that's Korean.
Yeah, he's the leadoff hitter for the Padres. So
there you go. That's that. They'll be behind him.
He'll be behind him for
way
sure.
More.
Yeah,
That's gonna be cool to see. Does Machado go deep?
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm more on the fence here. I think he will because he's just a villain, and villains just do that.
Assassinate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you gotta have respect for Machado.
Yeah, he does well.
And then the last one.
Does Joey Gallo hit 20 jacks this year? He had it last year, 21.
He had 21
with an atrocious
Twins,
sub
I think,
200
right?
batting average.
Yeah, he's batted at below 200. However, he's on the Nationals, which
no pressure.
There's a lot of young talent in that team, though. A lot of young talent.
Do you think he's going to be the
Especially
freaking apple of the eye to everyone who plays the Nationals? Like they're like, oh, I got to get Joey out today. Like, do you think that's going to be that pressure?
No, I mean he's definitely like still the bottom of the swimming pool as far as offensive bats go for the Nationals.
He's the biggest name on the team, though. I mean, when it comes to like MLB established names, like he is.
Well, established, yeah. I think Lane Thomas is their best hitter, but
that's what I'm not saying. You know what I'm saying like when you are thinking about the Nationals, you now think maybe, hey, Joey Gallo.
I mean, I don't think you think. I think when you play them, you're like, oh, Joey Gallo's on this team.
I guess so. I mean, unless it's more public that he is.
I do think he will not finish with more than 20 home runs.
You don't think so?
I don't think he'll have enough playing time.
Poor guy.
What do you think?
I just want to see Joey Gallo do good, so I'm going to say
too.
yes.
I'm
going to
fan.
root for Joey Gallo.
Okay.
Team Gallo.
All right, we'll see.
Show him wrong. Prove him wrong, Joey.
What do you guys think? You guys tell us if you think you'll hit more than 20 home runs.
Prove him wrong, buddy. Come on. Pull it together. Let's go.
All right,
30.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. We actually went a little bit over our
We're 10
scheduled
minutes
time,
over. It's all
but that's
good.
fine. You know, it's first podcast, a little extra content for everybody.
Working out the kinks.
Yeah, I felt like it went pretty well.
I think so. I think we need to be snappier.
Yeah,
We tighten it up a little bit.
we're not used to this. I mean, this is like one of the few times I've been out in front of a camera or just, free balling it as far as words coming into my head.
First 10, 15 minutes for me, I was getting everyone's name wrong. I was misremembering things.
I think we picked it up as the podcast went along.
I need to be
We got a
sharper.
little more comfortable.
Yeah,
But-
it's okay.
But we're good, I mean, I have a lot of fun doing this. I hope you guys enjoy this as well.
I had fun.
Leave comments, please. We want feedback. We want to hear from you guys. This will be great. So
All the comments could be like, these guys don't know what they're talking about.
that's okay. Even those, I don't care. Bring them. Freaking
Bring 'em.
roast me. I
Bring
don't
'em.
freaking care.
That's so funny, dude.
All right.
I think it was fun, dude. I can't wait to see.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait to see this season. I think there's a lot to be excited about this year.
Yeah.
And it's a big reason why I think we're jumping back into making content more often and more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
The game is changing. The new guys are here.
New guys, the new generation is
The new
here.
generation.
It's crazy how many guys are coming up.
Yeah, dude. COVID kind of screwed things up a little bit, and I think
slowed
we're
it down.
We're
for
hitting our
sure.
stride now,
Yep.
dude. We have some studs coming up. We have some guys hitting their primes. We got some people that are going to make legendary careers even more legendary. And last but not least, we have the Dodgers. As a Dodger fan myself, putting together an absolute monster team.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see how it pans out. And I'm sure everyone else who's not a Dodger fan can't wait to see
us
the demise.
crumble in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So screw you guys.
Hopefully it doesn't happen. All right. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. And tune in next week. We're going to try to do these once a week, hopefully every Monday. And yeah, that's it. See ya.
Thank you.
1.